here. Phoenix Jackson in the portal, the linebacker from Fresno State. Now, I saw this come up as someone who was visiting Baylor, and I was like, I feel like I saw that name the other day, Phoenix Jackson. Like that is one that, like, you recognize that name. Well, it's because multiple outlets had him as being committed to Auburn like 5 or 6 days ago. But now you go to 247 and their crystal ball has, first off, they don't have him committed anywhere. And his crystal ball is 100% on Baylor. All right, I'm here for it. Comes in with at least a year of eligibility. That's what I need most from these portal things. It's just tell me how many years of eligibility, because he's a junior, so it should have one, but you never know with, fifth years, and I guess they're still handing out some COVIDs. I don't know. But he comes from Fresno State, linebacker, another position we're circling. Baylor doesn't need to replace the whole roster or anything, but there are quite a few positions that they need to bolster up a little bit. And Phoenix Jackson is a guy who comes in with 49 tackles this past year, 30 of them solo, so he can really wrap up and run support, 4 sacks, a forced fumble, and a couple of picks as well, and some more passes defended. So linebacker, that's what I'm looking at. Baylor has not had very many of those the last few years, guys who can defend out in coverage as well. Phoenix Jackson certainly fits that mold. According to PFF, he allowed 19 catches on 23 targets that went out to him, but graded out at a 90.3 in pass coverage. For a middle linebacker, I mean, you'll take that any day of the week. That's actually pretty solid. And he is over 100 tackles in his career with the Bulldogs. Again, now you got to pry him away from Auburn. I was on the Travion Barnes train. If I had to pick one, I'd probably rather pick Barnes from FIU at that same position. But Phoenix Jackson, that's not a lot of drop off to number 2. I mean, he's a guy who can come in. You need someone who can come in and fill a Matt Jones position, or I guess better yet, a Keaton Thomas position, because Keaton Thomas will be filling in the Matt Jones position. But that's a pretty good way to go about it, I would say, with a guy like Phoenix Jackson. And you are going to need some help in the pass rush, because first off, we were highlighting that as a place you needed to improve. And you actually just lost a guy. Trey Wilson went into the portal on a Monday. He and Isaiah Dunson, you remember him from last year, transferred in from Miami at corner. He's out in the portal as well. But Trey Wilson is a name that you'll recognize. Not earth-shattering numbers, but did have 16 total tackles this year. Did get some playing time, but nothing in the backfield. For a defensive end, he had no TFLs, no sacks, no forced fumbles. Had his only sack last year, and it was game 1 of last year against Texas State, and recovered a fumble in that game too, I believe. But had his only sack of the season. That's now 23 games ago. So you're not losing a ton in production there. It's just another body that you need to replace, which is something. I mean, here's a guy who came in, he had some experience playing for Baylor. There's no reason to believe he couldn't take a step up next year. But again, you look at these portal pieces, man, they're all depth pieces. In fact, Trey Wilson probably got the most snaps of he and Abaselli, who just committed to UH, are the guys who got the most snaps this year. Dominic Richardson was at one point the starter, and announced a long time ago he was going into the portal. So another day where Baylor's saying, all right, we've avoided, a starter going into the portal, and now we're only looking to add through this, which is where Baylor needs to be, especially after where they were the first couple of years under Aranda, where they weren't interested in the portal much at all. Now you're in a position where you're not losing starters and you're gaining starters. You obviously gained a couple last year in Trigg and Keaton Thomas, but you need to help. You need a lot of help in pass rush, and whether that's linebacker or defensive end, you need some help there. Or you also need a nose tackle. You went out and got a nose tackle who can hopefully plug up some holes and allow your guys to get around the edge a little bit easier, the way it was in 2021. So that's the portal update. Thank you for making it to the end of the video, and thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network part of your daily routine. We have got you covered with the most Baylor Bears athletics coverage of any outlet that's not directly tied into Baylor University. So if you want more of that, be sure to like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell to get notified every time we're dropping a video here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, and sick 'em.